Target shooting is fun, challenging, and a great way to improve your marksmanship. But not every pistol is built to take abuse. Some look good on the range for a few hundred rounds, but then start falling apart well before people expect. In today's video, we're counting down the top 5 target handguns that will fail before 1,000 rounds. Guns you should steer clear of if you want something reliable, durable, and safe for extended range use. We're not just talking about picky itching or minor finish wear. These are handgun platforms with documented durability concerns, guns that might break, jam, or wear out in a few hundred rounds, especially under high volume practice. Whether you're new to pistols or a seasoned shooter, knowing which guns to avoid can save time, money, and headaches, so let's break them down. Number 5. Budget Polymer Pocket Pistols. At number 5, we have the ultra-cheap polymer pocket pistols. We're talking sub-$250 guns from obscure or no-name manufacturers found online or in bargain bins at gun shops. On paper, they seem like a dream. They're compact, lightweight, and affordable, but take them to the range for more than a couple hundred rounds, and that honeymoon ends fast. Shoot 300 to 500 rounds, and these guns start falling apart. Spring failures, frame cracks, bent guide rods, and feed ramp damage all show up way too early. The polymer used often feels more like recycled plastic than reinforced material, and internal parts are usually low-grade steel or zinc alloy, which wears quickly. Reliability nosedives the moment you start pushing the gun under stress, and even worse, tiny disconnector springs and firing pins are common points of failure. Once these go, you're stuck with a gun that jams constantly or doesn't fire at all. Cracks near the trigger guard, slide rails, or dust cover aren't uncommon either, and those are serious safety concerns, not just cosmetic issues. And if something does break, good luck. Most of these companies offer little to no customer service, and replacement parts are either non-existent or hard to source. You'll spend more money and time trying to fix it than it's worth. It might be fine for plinking or as a throwaway truck gun, but don't expect it to hold up to regular target practice. These are not range workhorses. When a gun starts falling apart before it hits the 1,000 round mark, that's a major red flag. Bottom line is that cheap might get you in the door, but it won't keep you shooting. Spend a little more upfront for the reputable brand, something with proven reliability and support, because in the long run, those few extra dollars will save you from frustration, failure, and wasted time at the range. Number 4. Discontinued double action only 380 ACP pocket pistols. At number 4, we've got the discontinued DAO, or double action only 380 ACP pocket pistols, especially from lesser known or defunct manufacturers. Back in the early 2000s, these little pistols were all the rage for deep concealment. They were small, light, and often under $300. They were marketed as ideal everyday carry options, but for target practice or high volume shooting, well, that's where things fall apart. Literally. The biggest issue is build quality. Many of these guns were made with poor metallurgy, cast internal parts, and underpowered springs that were just barely up to the task. Push past 600 to 800 rounds and things start to wear fast. The trigger mechanism becomes mushy, light primer strikes become more common, and stovepipes or failures to extract rear their ugly heads. Another common flaw is their light slide mass. These guns rely on blowback action, which can work fine with fresh ammo, but any variation in recoil energy, especially with range loads or older ammo, causes inconsistent cycling. Springs wear out fast, and many users report frame cracks near the trigger guard or magwell after extended use. And here's the kicker. Replacement parts are almost non-existent. Most of these models were discontinued years ago. Companies went under or they've moved on to new lines, leaving customers with guns they can't repair. If your firing pin breaks or your extractor vanishes into the grass at the range, you're out of luck. These pistols also tend to have heavy, gritty triggers that get worse with wear. Not exactly ideal when you're trying to improve your shooting accuracy at the range. Some users report needing both hands just to squeeze off double-action shots after a few hundred rounds. Sure, they're easy to carry, and they disappear in a pocket holster, but if you plan on practicing regularly or putting any real volume through your carry gun, these discontinued DAO 380s are not worth the trouble. The bottom line is this: if you own one, keep it clean, shoot it sparingly, and don't expect it to survive hard use. For serious training or target work, spend your money on something current, supported, and designed to last more than a few hundred rounds. Number 3. Pressed steel frame Chinese 9mm clones. Taking bronze at number 3 are the budget pressed steel frame 9mm clones, especially those imported from lesser known Chinese manufacturers during the 1990s and early 2000s. Out of the box, these pistols might fool you. Some of these even look impressive, with stainless barrels, polymer grips, and 3-dot sights, and what appears to be decent machining. But don't let the polish fool you. Beneath the surface, it's a mess of pressed and stamped steel, often assembled with loose tolerances and questionable metallurgy. The slide to frame fit is often inconsistent, and with regular use, say anything beyond 300 to 500 rounds, you start noticing real wear and slop. Broken extractor claws, chipped feed ramps, and soft slide rails that gouge or warp over time are common issues. The firing pin channel can deform, and in some cases, you'll get short strikes or light primer hits caused by inconsistent internal geometry. Then there are the magazines, usually thin metal with weak followers and inconsistent feed lips. Misfeeds, failures to lock open, or mags that simply drop out mid-shooting session are all common complaints. The worst case scenario is a cracked feed ramp, cracked slide rail, or even fractured fire control group housing before you ever see the 1,000 round mark. At that point, you're left with a gun that's too busted to run and too obscure to repair. There's also limited aftermarket support, so good luck finding parts, much less upgrades. While some shooters try to replace springs or polish the internals, it's usually like putting lipstick on a lemon. The bottom line is that these clones are attractive in the store, and sure, they go bang at first, but over time they're barely range ready and definitely not built for long-term use or any kind of serious training. If you're buying a 9mm pistol for anything more than casual plinking, spend the extra money and buy something that's been properly engineered and actually supported. Number 2. Tight Tolerance Competition 22LR Pistols. Number 2 and our silver medal goes to the high-end Tight Tolerance Competition Grade 22LR pistols. You know, the sleek $800 plus rimfire race guns that promise absolute precision and Olympic tier accuracy. And don't get us wrong, they do deliver, but only when conditions are perfect. These pistols are engineered with incredibly tight tolerances to squeeze out every bit of performance. But that precision comes at a price: reliability under regular use. Once carbon fouling, unburned powder, or a little bit of lead shavings build up in the action, it's game over. These guns start choking hard. Slides bind, triggers lose crispness, and magazines start sticking in the well. Even the smallest bits of grime can throw off the cycle, especially if you're using bulk 22LR ammo, which tends to run dirtier and less consistently than match grade. Some of these pistols are so finely tuned that if you switch ammo brands or types, you'll see failures to feed or eject, and forget shooting suppressed without constant cleaning. The added back pressure only speeds up the fouling. What makes things worse is most people don't clean rimfires religiously. So when that first malfunction shows up, be it a chipped ejector pin, damaged magazine feed lips, or carbon-caked chamber, you've already started down a long road of downtime, spare parts, and gunsmith bills. And those compensators are great for controlling muzzle rise, but a pain to clean. Once they start clogging with lead and carbon, accuracy suffers and cleaning becomes a full-on project. Yes, these pistols are phenomenal in clean, indoor match conditions where you can shoot 60 rounds, wipe everything down, and go home. But if you're shooting 300 to 400 rounds every weekend, expect issues before you hit the 1,000 mark. The bottom line is that they're not built for daily range abuse. They're built to win medals, not to teach your nephew how to shoot on a dusty summer afternoon. If you want a reliable 22LR pistol for training, plinking, or informal competition, go for a simpler, looser fitting design that doesn't panic the second it sees a smudge of carbon. Save the race guns for race day. Number 1. Proprietary Caliber Compact Semi-Autos. And at number 1 and our gold medalist today are these semi-auto compact pistols chambered in obscure proprietary calibers. We're talking rounds like 9x25mm Viper, 22 TCM, or custom labeled micro 9s and boutique loads that only one manufacturer produces or supports. These guns show up with slick marketing and bold promises. More power, less recoil, higher capacity, cutting-edge design. But behind the shiny brochure is a major flaw. You're stuck with a gun that nobody else supports. Most of these firearms are plagued by problems long before the 1,000 round mark. You'll hear about stuck ejectors, cracked feed rams, warped guide rods, soft metal wear, and worn extractor springs that struggle to maintain tension. Add in magazines that don't lock up flush or develop feed angle problems and you're in for a headache. Ammo is another nightmare. These proprietary calibers are often expensive, hard to find, and nearly impossible to reload. And when the manufacturer inevitably stops producing that boutique round or goes out of business entirely, you're left with a glorified paperweight. To make matters worse, spare parts are rare. There's little to no aftermarket support. You won't find holsters, triggers, replacement barrels, or springs very easily. If something breaks, you'll either pay custom gunsmith rates or simply stop shooting it altogether. And these guns aren't even particularly fun at the range. Reliability is spotty, ammo inconsistency leads to extraction issues or erratic cycling, and you can't really practice with it if you're counting each round like it's made of gold. So, the gun that was supposed to be your go-to carry or compact range companion ends up collecting dust in the safe. The takeaway is that you shouldn't chase unicorn calibers. Stick with proven chamberings, 9mm, 40 S&W, 45 ACP, 22 LR, 357 SIG, or 10mm, and firearms with actual service histories and parts availability. Innovation is exciting, but your training schedule shouldn't depend on whether a small ammo company meets their quarterly batch run. Bottom line is that a gun that can't run when you need it or that you can't afford to shoot isn't worth owning. Go with something you can trust, train with, and maintain. Because when a gun dies before 1,000 rounds, it's not cutting edge, it's just a bad investment. So there you have it, the top 5 target handguns that will fail before 1,000 rounds. You got your cheap polymer pocket guns, the DAO 380 ACP throwaways, pressed steel 9mm clones, tight tolerance 22 LR competition pistols, and proprietary caliber compacts. Each of these offers a unique red flag. Low cost, over-engineered quirks, specialty rounds, or thin metal work. Inexpensive or exotic may entice, but don't overestimate performance. For years of reliable shooting, choose a handgun with support, spare parts, and a proven track record. If you spotted any of these in your collection, maybe it's time to reevaluate, or at least back off the full management drills until it's been stress tested. Tell me in the comments which handgun surprised you the most. Thanks for watching. Hit that like button, subscribe for more real-world gear reviews, and stay sharp and smooth on the range.